Hello, 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 and we are live. Welcome to this week's weekly marketing masterclass, and I am your host, Maria Isa, and I am so excited to share this masterclass with you today. It's one of my personal favorites because it's so essential, especially in building your personal brand. So this week, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and insights in terms of networking your way to success. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So sit back, relax, get a notepad, get a pen, and let's get started. If you are new to following me, this is the weekly marketing masterclass that will assist you with marketing trends, insights to help you build a bankable brand. My name is Maria Isa, your host, with over a decade of brand marketing experience within sub-Saharan Africa, and I've worked with amazing individuals from around the world in marketing to help people build brands known and unknown and get them to market dominance. So, here this week, I'll be sharing with you some tips for you to build your personal brand through networking. And it's a personal favorite of mine simply because I've seen how networking has gotten me opportunities and it's gotten me into spaces that has allowed me to basically, you know, um, do things that I probably wouldn't have done if I didn't have that network. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to be looking over to my notes. If it looks like I'm looking elsewhere, I'm just looking at my notes because there's so much juiciness. I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure that you guys are getting all of them nom 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 nom, all the juicy stuff so that you can implement it directly. Okay, so today we'll dive into how effective networking can transform your personal brand into a bankable one. So I remember how networking played a pivotal role in my career journey as well as a self-starter, a company owner. And it was essentially ensuring that I was positioning myself to be in the best places and speaking to the right people who make the decisions. And did you know that 85% of jobs are actually filled through networking? Did you? Did you? Right? So the same principle also applies to building your brand. Your network is your net worth. And you know what is really interesting is that I remember, I think it was just before COVID or during COVID, where there was an individual on Facebook, I think it was, because we were all online, right, during that time, during COVID, where she was like, she's so tired of the saying of your network is your net worth. That's not true, and so forth. And I'm like, I don't agree with her because through networking, you can leverage relationships and you can be put in positions or put in your opportunities can be presented to you way before anyone else because of your network. Whereas if you try to do it on your own steam and your own energy, you may not necessarily get there. So, one of the examples that I can give you in my own personal life, one from a career point of view, was that I was moving from one company to another. And okay, let's put it like this: I was in one company, I was not happy. Like you could see it in my face. And many of you may know, like, sometimes you've got people where they seem nice and so forth, but like their face literally tells on them. I'm one of those people. I've worked hard in trying to change it, but sometimes it just doesn't. So I just roll with it. And my face will tell you exactly what I'm thinking, even though that was not the intention. So I remember I was in a certain organization and I did not like it. I was not enjoying myself. I didn't want to be there, but I had to be there. And so I just reserved myself to just do what I needed to do, show up, do what I got to do, and go home. And this one individual who became a dear friend of mine saw me one day and he was just like, "No, Maria, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, I am not okay. I actually just want to move. This is not exactly where I saw my career going, but I don't know what to do because I had to be here because of circumstances, but I don't want to be here anymore." Can I tell you, this beautiful human being said, "Please send me your CV. I know of a company that's actually looking for your expertise, and I know the marketing director who's looking for your skill set. I know they're hiring, And because he's a personal friend of mine, I am going to put your CV in front of him and then take it from there. So Maria, being Maria, is like, sure, why not? I'd rather try than not at all because you never know. And I sent him through my CV. I kid you not, within a couple of days, I got a call from the marketing director to meet up with him. Just a first off meeting because he liked my CV and wanted to meet me personally and see if we would be a good fit. We met up for coffee, and I think it was within a week later I had been set up to meet up with the hiring manager who was going to be my line manager at the time. And they literally said that was actually more of a formality because I had already impressed the marketing director directly, and that interview process was just more of a formality, but the job was basically mine. Now, what would have happened if I, number one, didn't state what I wanted, didn't state what I was looking for to this individual, if he didn't tell me that there was an opportunity and I'm not actually submitting for that opportunity, I would not have made that move. And that move was one of the biggest moves in my career. It was, woo, one of these days we'll probably need to meet up for an in-person coffee for me to spill all the tea, all the coffee, all the biscuits in it. But it was a pivotal moment in my marketing career for me in terms of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be exposed to, and the experience that I garnered from there. So that was how networking assisted me in moving companies and moving and getting the experience that I so craved, but I didn't know how. Because, again, that job, I think he knew about it obviously because that was his friend. They had advertised it, but I think it was recent. It was probably like a day or two before. And I wasn't actively looking, I had spoken about it. And this is also another thing when you're not actively looking and not like going through, the different portals and different channels to look for it, you may not necessarily find it or you're just not sure. But networking will make sure to cut the search time down quite significantly. So it's really, really important. So for me, networking has been a great part of my career growth and in terms of opportunities. I can also speak of another aspect where through networking, I was also able as an entrepreneur to land roles and land business basically with different individuals and backgrounds that allowed for me to obviously get clientele and work for them and get recommendations. So that is what networking can do for you, just to let you know. So networking is a really great, important part for you to build yourself. According to LinkedIn, 85% also of jobs are filled by networking. It's so critical to connect with the right people to advance your brand. Also, networking helps fill 85% of positions. This is the stats that I saw online. About 35.5 million people received a job through LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, why aren't you on LinkedIn? Anybody on this live here, or if you're seeing the replay later, if you're not in LinkedIn, please tell me why you're not in LinkedIn in the comments. I would really like to know. And also from my own personal experience, I was on LinkedIn for years, but I wasn't really active until 2023. Well, end of 2022 into 2023. And that has assisted my personal brand in growing leaps and bounds by being on that platform. So if you're not on there, you really do want to be on there. But it also needs to make sense for you and your brand. Almost 100% of workers believe that face-to-face meetings build strong long-term relationships. So as much as you're networking or someone sent through your information to someone, they still want to meet you. We still want to see each other. We still want to see your face, And it's so interesting that coming out of COVID, face-to-face and building relationships in person is still such a strong component. So you want to nurture that. But if that's still not part of your modus operandi, do not lose heart because around 40% of people network more online than in person. So it's still possible, but how do you do it? You need to identify the right platforms. I just spoke of one just now in which you can do so, which is LinkedIn. But if you're on other platforms, what are you doing to network with those people? Okay. So another stat for you is networking stats in quarter one 2023 show that 30% of job seekers search for job opportunities by asking for referrals and checking their current network. However, the year before 2023 and 2022, a massive 54% of hires came from referrals. So it goes back to that saying, your network is your net worth. If you are not getting referrals, if you're not getting insights from the people around you, you may need a new network. Yeah, I said it, yeah. You may need a new network altogether because why? Why? Okay. So I've mentioned that how networking can help for your brand, but let's understand your brand a little bit. So we've spoken about this time and time again, and you're going to hear this day in, day out until you are dreaming about it. And you're like, Maria said this, or I remember this for my brand. Because I want you to, it needs to be embodied within you, it needs to be part of your DNA. So your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And if you can remember the individual who said this, because I think I've shared this before, it was the amazing founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. I just put personal brand, but your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, and that is so important. What do you want to be known for? We've spoken about that. Defining your unique value proposition. If you haven't seen that yet, it's one of the last couple of videos that I've shared. Define your unique value proposition. What makes you stand out? Why do people want to connect with you? What value are you providing for them? Right? So I want you to think of your personal brand as your professional reputation. So just like a company has a brand identity, you too have a personal identity that others perceive. What sets you apart from others in your field, in your industry, um, in what you offer, right? Because that is what's going to help you leverage in standing out. The next thing that I want you to do is set clear goals, right? Because I've seen people go to networking events and they get a little bit flustered and then they don't know what to do and they don't know who to talk to and they feel overwhelmed. Next thing you know, they don't do anything at all. So it's really, really important before you even go anywhere. What are your goals, right? What do you want to do? So if your goal is to become a thought leader, say in sustainable fashion, your networking efforts need to focus on connecting with industry leaders, joining relevant groups, and attending eco-friendly fashion events. So I want you to apply that to your field. Who are you following within that field? What are they talking about? How are you ensuring that you are now connecting with them or engaging with them on the topics? How do you now stand out? What are your perspective on those topics that they're talking about? I'm giving you a little bit more there because sometimes we just say, "Oh, I'm just going to connect with a person and then that's it." It's about building a relationship. Remember, marketing is like dating, and then the end result is marriage. So in that process, it's about getting to know each other. It's about getting to understand their challenges or the things that they enjoy doing and bringing that to the fore, such that when it comes to finding solutions, you're the person who's top of mind to provide that solution as opposed to someone else. Okay. So at this point, I want you to write down your goals, your specific networking goals. Make it 3 to 5 networking goals that you want to achieve for the rest of the year. And I want you to be consistent in these goals. The reason why it's so important is because, and it's actually a really good time for this to come up because next month is Women's Month, which means there's a lot. I repeat, a lot of events that people are going to be putting up. And we're going to be tempted to go to each and every single one. But they need to make sense for you because otherwise you're just going to be anywhere and everywhere for the sake of being seen. And that's not what you want. It needs to make sense for you. It needs to make sense for your business because let's not forget, traveling to all these places take time. And that's time away from your business. It's time away from connecting with people that will actually add to your business. So I want you to write down your specific networking goals. Number one, they need to be SMART. SMART being it needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be relevant. Okay, so also in that relevance, are you going to relevant events? Okay, not just going because it seems nice and it's nice. I'm not saying don't go to the ones that make you feel nice. Absolutely do. But in terms of the, how do I say, the percentage, you should definitely go if you're looking to build your personal brand and getting more customers, getting more clients. You definitely want to go to the ones where your clients are going to be in, number one, and also that you're going to be able to let people know about what you have to offer as well. And it must be time bound. And what best way to bring this in now is that we have exactly 4 months until the end of the year. But if we're really, really honest, who does anything in December? So you got 3 months, essentially. So for the next 3 months, August to November. Is it 3 months? August, September, October, November. It actually feels more. It's 4 months. In my head, the math sounded right, and then I said that out loud. It didn't sound so right after all. So 4 months: August, September, October, November. What are your goals for that time? So, is it I will connect with 10 new industry professionals on LinkedIn this month who are leaders in sustainable fashion, who are leaders in manufacturing, who are leaders in cosmetics, who are leaders in geez, jewelry design. I don't know why that came up, but who are leaders in mining, who are leaders in geez, leaders in marketing, whatever. State what that is and keep to it, and you will see that consistency will pay off just now. So once you said what your goal is, so connecting with them, building relationships for the next 4 months, you will see a great change in terms of the conversations that you're going to have, but also in terms of how it will impact your business. So I'm going to share with you some effective networking strategies that will assist you in positioning during this time. Okay, so we're going to be talking about networking online versus offline. Okay, now, what I love about online, which I just realized the other day, I am such an introvert. As much as I'm a person who likes to talk a lot, and you can hear me and you can see, like, ooh, I can go on and on and on and on, and on and on and on and on, and on and on and on and on. But I also kind of like my space and I like being apart. It's a balance. So for individuals who feel a little overwhelmed about being out in the public eye and meeting people, online is still a great process, a great way to network. So online networking allows you to connect with professionals worldwide, which in person or in offline. Yeah, it's offline. In person would require for you to meet up with people, but then it's a certain amount. There's time required to get there and back and so forth. Whereas online, it can be any time during that works for you or works for them, and you are not restricted by geography, which is great. So online networking allows you to connect with professionals worldwide, whereas offline networking, such as attending local industry meetups, provides more personal connections. And I actually went into an industry meetup recently, a couple of nights ago, and it was really amazing. It was actually my first time at that event. I've heard about it over the years, but I never attended until recently, which is really interesting. It's called Suits and Sneakers. I don't know if anyone's ever been there. I really loved it. And for me, it was just a great way to just be out of the house and just meet other like minded people. Um, and then what you can find with networking online is that it offers a broader reach. However, it can feel a little bit impersonal. Whereas when you're meeting up with people, it can get deep. You can get more deeper in your relationships, can get more personal. But it is obviously, as I said, limited by geography. So you want to balance how many networking events do you want to meet in person and how many do you want to do online so that you have a great feed and balance of both. So building a network online. So as I mentioned, if you're not on LinkedIn, we need to talk about this. No, seriously, we really need to talk about this. But on LinkedIn, you can make sure your profile is complete and professional. Ensure that you join groups that are related to your industry and actively participate in discussions. So it's not just you like. No, no. You must comment and post with thoughtful insights rather than generic comments. And I can attest to this personally when I was there was a period, I would say, from October, November last year to this year, where I posted more thoughtful comments, and I got quite a few requests from people to connect with me, and that is such a game changer. So even in building your network online, you can decide part of your goals. How many comments are you going to leave? If it's not on LinkedIn, then maybe on Facebook. If it's not on Facebook, maybe it's Instagram. Whichever platform you're using, you want to think about strategically what kind of comments do you want to share with people so that it shows a little bit about your expertise but also your personality at the same time. So here is a checklist for optimizing your LinkedIn profiles. You want to make sure that you're using a professional profile picture. Okay, you want to make sure you're writing a compelling headline that includes keywords relating to your expertise. Okay, You want to craft a detailed summary that highlights your unique value proposition. So, who you are, what you do, and why you're doing what you're doing. Okay. List relevant experience and achievements and get endorsements and recommendations. And that's how you optimize your LinkedIn profile. However, if you still feel like, I don't know how to start this, where can I do this, Maria? I'm not sure how to do this. Send me a DM and let's set up a session and I can help you. I can walk you through how to get this optimized for yourself. Okay, so building a network online. When attending an event, make sure you have a 30-second elevator pitch ready. Something like, why don't I just use myself because I feel like it's easier. Hi, I'm Maria Isa. I help coaches and professionals build bankable brands so that they can focus on what they do best. Simple. Because you want to be able to give people an insight as to who you are, what you're about, and what you're doing, right? And why you're doing, so they can focus on what they do best. Because as coaches and professionals, you've got other things you want to do. You'd rather be focusing on getting your next career move, or helping coaching people. But the marketing aspect and building your brand online and your digital presence is just a chore that you just can't get to, and that's where I come in. So you want to think of yourself in that aspect when developing your elevator pitch. And I think we've had sessions where I've chatted a little bit about elevator pitches and how you can design that. But if you need a little bit more help, as I mentioned, send me a DM. Let's set up some time so that I can assist you with that, because those are really useful, especially in terms of meeting someone for the first time. And a lot of people say, "Hi, how are you? Oh, my name is so and so, and I'm from such and such a place, and I work here, da 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 da, but da 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 da." And it's like, okay, but why did you want to meet me? What is this? Because as much as I just gave you a little bit of that, you also want to talk about why you felt it was good to meet up with them. I feel like we have some synergy, and I would like to set up a call to discuss some ideas that I have, something like that. Okay. What you want to then do once you've got your pitch down is to practice it and tailor it to different audiences. So make sure your pitch is concise and compelling, and practice it until it feels natural. So you want to make sure you address it to your audience, and it makes it relevant and makes them want to actually know more about you and what you have to offer. So if, for example, you are at a tech event, you want to highlight your tech related achievements and interests, and obviously why you want to speak to that person. Always bring it back to the people. Hence, I said address it to your audience, because it's not, as much as you're dating, you don't want to just be talking about yourself. If you think about it, when you're speaking to someone and they're just talking about themselves over and over and over, it gets tiring. Then it becomes boring. Then you actually don't want to be around that person, because they're just talking about themselves. Whereas if it's a conversation and it's both ways, and it's makes for interesting dialogue, and then you want to spend more time with that person, see, then you're able to get to learn about them, get to know them, get to provide solutions. Or maybe if you're not able to do so, you can provide value by connecting with them with someone that might be able to assist them. Again, providing value, and in that you're becoming the top of mind person that they connect with or they think of when they need something done. Any questions so far? I know I'm talking a lot and quite quickly at the same time, so I'm trying to make sure that I am not losing anyone. Okay, nothing so far. Great, let's get going. Okay, so the next thing is leveraging your social media for networking. So I know I've told you guys, X. X is a very interesting platform because I have a story to tell. One of the organizations that I ended up volunteering for, which was all about entrepreneurship advocacy and having input into policy decisions and making, I actually got to know about that event through X, which was the then Twitter. So I'm not saying don't be on there. I think you just have to be very strategic as to why you're using that platform, simply because it can be quite toxic. And I know in my last video I talked about how Virgin Active South Africa decided to remove themselves from the platform because it was that toxic. And that's why I say it's very important for you to know where your audience is and what they're doing. I say that to say, once you've identified the platforms You want to make sure you have a strategy in terms of what you're doing on there, just so that you're not finding yourself in a sticky mess that you can't get off. I've always advised clients you may want to stay off Twitter because it can get quite toxic. However, it's also a great place for conversations. I've always said Twitter is great for conversations, but it needs to be conversations related to your industry. So when they are events, I would suggest that download Twitter before the event, or X before the event, and share in the hashtags, share your thoughts and so forth. Um, because that's how you also see like-minded people. You can see who's following and get in contact and so forth. But you want to limit your exposure to it as much as possible as well because of the toxicity. I personally prefer other platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram because LinkedIn is more professional and so forth, and Instagram a little bit more freedom there, but still also enjoyable, but without the toxicity. Again, it needs to be relevant to your brand. So, with Twitter, if you're on there and you want to use it in terms of for events, make sure you follow the industry hashtags, join the conversations. It's great for conversations. Instagram is great in that you can share behind the scenes content to humanize your brand, humanize you, right? So that you're not just this curated person that seems um, I don't want to say the English is leaving me now, but not that person that's not relatable. There we go. So you want to be someone that people feel like, oh, I can relate to her. I want to connect with her. I want to know more about her. So on Instagram, you can post stories about your daily work, routine, or a project that you're passionate about. So plan your posts in advance to ensure consistency, but have a mix up of the type of content that you're going to have. If it's informative posts or behind the scenes glimpses or success stories and industry news, make sure you're engaging with your audience by responding to comments and messages. So again, you need to know what platforms you're going to be on, which ones through those platforms, what are you focusing on, what is your strategy, what is your content that you're going to have there. Really important to have a content calendar because that also ensures that you know what you're posting when and what you're talking about. I always also say that as much as it's great to have a calendar, um, don't create too much of your post way too. Oh, there goes English again. When you plan your calendar, leave space for you to create something that is relevant in the now. So if you're posting every single day and you're planning that every single day I'm going to post, test, how do I say, um, choose a day where you're going to be like, you know what, I'm not going to post what's here, I'm going to post what's relevant or what's happening now, because you'll find that those trending topics or those trending instances and newsworthy stuff, you can bring your own perspective on that. So you want to have flexibility. I always say leave room for miracles. So leave room for flexibility in order to talk about news events, or things that that are important to you and are relevant to your brand that you want to bring up, because that brings also another side of you that people will not necessarily engage with through your posts, even if it means going live. And I know there's some people on here who are probably like, live, Maria, you want me to go live? Yes, I do. I really do want you to go live, because I don't know if you've noticed, you guys have a little bit of a better sense of who I am and what I'm about through these lives than if I was just to put a video up of someone else, or put posts up, or a carousel, or a reel of something or someone else, um, that has a sneak peek as to who I am, but not quite. Whereas this, alive, you get the full essence, you get my tonality, you get my messaging, you get how I'm a little bit playful, but also quite serious at the same time, which you can't necessarily get from static posts or carousels and so forth. So do go live because it brings another part of you that people will not necessarily see. Okay, now, next thing is maintaining and leveraging your network, right? So, after meeting someone at an event, make sure you send a personalized either a LinkedIn request or an email and talk about, what it was that you discussed. So, if it's a LinkedIn request, you say, "Hi, so and so, it was great discussing, you know, how, you know, discussing, how do I say, world peace with you at such and such an event. I'd love to stay in touch." It's very simple. Um, or if it's an Instagram thing, it's like, I really like the post. What you've been posting really, really resonates with me. I'd love to stay in touch and so forth. That's how you start building relationships. Do not, I repeat, and you can quote me on this. I repeat, do not start off any introductions or any follow up messages with, "Hi, I'm so and so, and this is what I have to offer, and this is how much it is," and da 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 da. You are going to, like, you haven't even taken me to dinner yet. You haven't taken me to dinner. Like, I just feel like we just went straight to a place that I didn't even know if I really wanted to go, and that puts people off. So remember, I said that business transactions happen at the speed of trust. And in order for people to trust you, it takes a long time for people to build trust, but a nanosecond for it to be broken. So it's imperative that you ensure that you build that trust over time, but also that speed can be halved if you're genuine, if you are authentic, if you are truly providing value and you're not just self-seeking for your own gain. Yes, you want the sales. Yes, you want more clients, but making them feel um, valued, making them feel supported will speak bigger volumes and make sure that you have repeat business than if you're always just getting something for yourself. I should actually paint it then. But anyway, you get what I mean. So always think about other people first. You want to serve people. There's a saying that goes, the quickest way for you to get what you want is if you help others get what they want. I really like that saying. So the quickest way for you to get what you want is ensuring that you help others get what they want. Service them. It's about a life of service. That's why you got into the business that you did, because you're providing a service. Even that product that you're offering, it's a type of service to assist people, making their lives easier, making their lives better. So you're serving them. That's the quickest way for you to get to your millions. You can quote me on that. Cool. What you also want to do is ensure that you schedule regular check ins with key connections. So set reminders to follow up with key contacts every few months. Please do not make it every other week. You are going to get people annoyed, and then they're just going to block you and not want to speak to you. But make sure that you have good, relevant, how do I say, give people enough time, to miss you. It's almost like paying hard to get. But yeah, give enough people enough time to miss you, but also come up with something relevant and not just because, hey, I wanted to talk about us meeting and whatever. Make sure that you're seeing what they're doing and looking at what they're probably needing or see what they've commented and then add on it with your insights and your perspectives. That is something that would definitely position you as to someone that they definitely want to talk to should you not say anything for a period. I would say give each between 4 to 6 weeks, basically between speaking to people. Give them enough time to miss you. So the way when you're following up with people, firstly, don't ever say you're following up. Just saying, hey, it's been a while. I just had some time to check in on you and how you're doing. And then also share articles or share advice about things that you think that they'd find interesting or valuable. Key thing here is to drop in the little nuggets of wisdom that you have, showcasing your expertise. And it also ensures that you provide value to your network. So share articles, podcasts, tools that might benefit them. Hi, I came across this article on, say, sustainable marketing, and I thought you'd find it useful. Oh, hi, I found this podcast about building bankable brands, and I feel like that this is something that would definitely, we spoke about at our meetup, that you mentioned you want to find ways in terms of how you can, garner more visibility for what you offer. I think this you'd find this useful. When you are of help to others, they will see you as someone that they want to keep going back to. Okay? Keep a list of valuable resources to share regularly. So create a folder of useful articles, podcasts, tools, and resources. So when you come across something relevant, share it with your network. So this demonstrates your value and keeps you top of mind, and ensures that they want to connect, keep chatting to you as well. Next step is collaborations and partnerships, because why are you networking? at the end of the day. These are vital for your business, but are ensuring longevity and making sure that you have a great reach as much as possible. Even big brands do this. I mean, you've seen it, but I'm going to talk about it again. Big brands do this in terms of, influencing us into purchases. So if we think of a brand that have been that's been in my face a little bit lately, but also one of my favorites is Nike. If you think about how they partner with athletes to demonstrate their versatility, to demonstrate their performance, to demonstrate what they stand for. I'm not saying you have to, partner with athletes, but you want to partner with people who share your values and goals, and you want to reach out with a clear proposal. I noticed we both focus on mental health awareness. Let's collaborate on a webinar to reach a wider audience, right? So now it's a win-win for both, not just, oh, I want to speak to you on this because, I want to sell you my services and that's it. Win-win. Remember, and please, if there's anything that I need you to remember from this live, is the quickest way for you to get what you want is to help other people get what they want. So how do you do this? You need to research potential partners thoroughly to ensure alignment. So look into their past work, values, and goals to ensure they align with yours. When reaching out, be specific about how the collaboration will be mutually beneficial, and clearly outline what you're proposing and the expected outcomes, as well as what you expect along the way as well. By detailing that ensures that you guys are crossing all the crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's. Wow, guys, English came on a boat. Crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. It's also ensuring alignment and ensuring that, like, when you guys are working together, it seems like, you make your organization seem a lot bigger than it really is. And that's what people like, right? We like seeing things like, oh, this person has this expertise. Oh, look at who's in their team and so forth. Oh, look at what they're talking about. It's all about perception. Because if you remember at the beginning, I mentioned your brand, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what are they going to say about your brand after you've, showcased a webinar, or you've met them in person, or you've given a speech, or you've given a talk, or they've met you and bought your books and so forth? What are they going to say about you in terms of that whole experience? Who you align yourself with is also really important, because if you guys are not matching, if you guys are, not quite in the same space, you're going to find more challenges than actually getting work done. So it's important that the people you collaborate and partner with are in line with who you are and what you are about, and also ensure that that both of you or all of you can actually action what it is that you set out to do. Okay, so to recap, it's all about, in terms of networking your way to success, as I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying it, and you're going to keep hearing it all the way until the end of the year. It's all about defining your brand. Make sure that you set clear networking goals, because you don't want to just go to events for the sake of going to an event and it seems nice and it's a wait time out of the office or time out of your business day and so forth. It needs to make sense, because at the end of the day, you're still spending money to go to those things, right? So it needs to make sense. What do you want to take out of each session? Is it connecting with industry leaders? Is it understanding what trends are out there? Is it understanding, partnerships, or making partnerships and so forth? What are your goals? Make sure they are smart, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. I've already given the time bound one for you, because we need to see at the end of the year what our goals were, and did we reach them. So you've got 4 months from the 1st of August. So you've got literally this weekend to plan out your goals. It's from the 1st of August up until the 31st of November, 30th of November. 30th of November. What are your networking goals for your business? Utilize both online and offline strategies depending on what your branding goals are for the year. So at the beginning of the year, not at the beginning of our sessions, I mentioned, what are your goals for the year? What are your business goals? Because your personal brand goals are also aligned to your business goals. So what are those? What is it that you're looking for? Is it more clients, more revenue, more profit, more more streamlined processes. What is that? Because that ultimately, as you can see, feeds into everything else. So if it's online strategies that you want to be online because you want to have a wider audience reach, you want to be global, then it makes sense for you to focus more on there. If you want it, if it's limited because of where you are and geographically, this is what makes sense to you, then you focus more on there. But it needs to line up with your overall goals. Always follow up and provide value. So don't always sell, 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 sell. I got this for sale. I got this for. Provide value, articles, podcasts, books. Provide your perspective on some of these things as well. So don't just say, "Here, I think you'd like it." Give your insights. Give your perspectives on what you thought about it and why you felt that that was something that they would find insightful. Okay. Networking is not just about collecting contacts. It's about building relationships. Can I say that again? I'm going to say that again. Networking is not just about collecting contacts, it's about building relationships. Remember, I said at the beginning of these sessions that marketing is like dating. And if you don't like dating or you're not in a long term relationship, we definitely need to talk. Let's talk because it's all about building relationships. This one is just not personal. It's not, well, it's personal, but it's not, the other relationship. But it's really important because this is what is the backbone of growing your business and building that bankable personal brand. Alrighty. Any questions before I close up the session? Hi, Damaris. How are you? It's so good to see you. So she said, very few things annoy me more than getting just a link with zero context. Exactly, exactly. Why must I open this up? So when you're providing value to people, when you're providing articles and so forth, give context. Why do I think this will work? Because I've seen your work on this and this. I believe that this you'll find this interesting. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, because I spoke on this or I said this or I talked about it somewhere, then yes, I'll open it up because I want to read. Your key thing is you want people to get to the finish line, essentially. What is getting to the finish line meaning? That if you send them a link, you want them to open the link. You want them to come back to you and give you their thoughts on that link that you provided them. Let's make it easier. When we send this is a personal favorite of mine because I think we can all relate to this. When we send memes or videos to people on WhatsApp, what are we expecting in return? Just as someone who sends memes and videos. I'll give you one for me. If you know me and you're in my WhatsApp world, I can share serious stuff, but I can share like, oh, I come across some really, really hilarious videos, guys. I come across hilarious videos. In fact, the way I say to my family, like, and friends, like, I don't know how they deal. I love it for them that I am that hilarious. I can, like, I'm expecting a reaction. I'm expecting you to laugh back. So Damaris is right. Emoji reactions. I'm expecting you to laugh. I'm expecting you to say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize." I need some feedback. So if you've also noticed, you see how I'm going to bring marketing into everything. Feedback is how you know whether or not it's something that you can keep sending them stuff or you're going to pull back. So it's the same thing when you're in WhatsApp groups. You send something, you're expecting someone from the group to acknowledge it of some sort. It's either a thumbs up or it's a laughing thing or whatever it is based on what you're expecting a reaction. The same way that you also send out information to your potential partners or people that you want to be potential clients, you're expecting a reaction, either an acknowledgement of receipt or feedback on what you shared with them. Because when they give you feedback, do you know what that actually opens up for you? It opens up for you to continue a conversation. Do you know how difficult it is to start a conversation out of nowhere when there's no context, nothing, and you're just going into your own thing? Remember what I said, do not be self-serving. It's about serving others. The quickest way for you to get what you want is to give people what they want. So if you're providing value and you're giving them something that they want and they're looking for it, or you're providing a different perspective that they never thought of, you're going to be the first person they'll think of in terms of addressing it or elaborating it. Damaris, this is touching you in your spirit today. I love it. It's like I get offended by just check this out. That to me is the same as a blank ink. Yeah, give something more than check this out. Give context. When I saw this, I thought of you because of X, Y, and Z. Then they're more likely to open it. Then check this out. Okay, I'll check it out when I have time. I'll check it out if I feel like it. I'll check more often than not, you'll find that people will actually zone out and not even end up checking it out. Such that when you now want to follow up and come back and circle back, it's like, I just had time to circle back and, I wanted to find out if you actually managed to open that link. You'll be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the person says, oh, I actually never got around to it. Do you know why? Because you gave them a check this out. Because you just sent a link without any context. And that doesn't help you. There is so much information that we are being bombarded with on a daily basis. Let's make it let's push round let's English. Let's push out of that noise. Let's stand out such that people will be like, "Oh, this is interesting. I definitely want to check this out." Don't tell them check this out. Say, "I thought of you. I came across this and I thought of you and what you were talking about. Let me know what you think." Again, that's another thing. Call to action. What do you want them to do with that information? Okay, I've checked it out and then. So I would like to know your thoughts on this. Or it's very interesting. This person said this, this, and this. Do you agree? Then you're eliciting the conversation. See, it's a lovely dance. I'm trying to think when. So I used to dance. I'm trying to think which dance style this would be. What's a give and take dance? Maybe tango? Maybe the tango. Yeah. Let's go with the tango. Haven't danced that in forever, but let's go with that one. It's a give and take, right? So you do a move here, he twirls you, and then you twirl them back. Well, not twirl back, but like yeah, you get what I mean. I'm going off topic because I'm so excited. A waltz, even, yes, it's give and take. It's give and take. So, when you're providing value to people, also add what it is, context, but also what it is you want them to do with that information. Do you want them to think about it and let you know, or do you just want them to just read it and not come back to you at all? Tamara's saying her studio is definitely touch. You see, this is what I do. I come on here to just spark a little bit of something for you guys to think about, also for your own brands, how you want to be how do you want to be treated, but also ultimately how you'll end up treating people, right? Because it is a reflection of that. Waltz definitely. You know nothing about dance types, by the way. Listen, I can tell you so many, but this is not the time and place for that. I'll do that another time in terms of the different types, dance types, because I've done quite a few. In fact, when I think about it, I'm like, when did I get all the time to do all these dance types? But that's for another day. Okay. Any other questions that on what I've shared here in terms of networking for your success and building your bankable personal brand? Because networking is the absolute key in terms of unlocking success and making sure that you're in spaces and in front of people, especially those who are decision makers, and that will help you be put in the forefront of those opportunities. I don't think I mentioned there was an opportunity that as I meant, okay, no, I mentioned it in passing where I found an opportunity through X, went to an event, and through this event, I met also the Minister of Small Business Development many years ago. Then through that organization, I met up with different leaders in organizations and diplomatic missions, and again, and one of the key things I always make sure before I go to these events is what are my goals? Who am I going to talk to? I don't need to talk to everybody, but I need to make sure I'm talking to somebody. And by the end of that, I'm going to make sure that they're going to meet me face to face, and I'm going to give an elevator pitch, like I mentioned, and I'm going to follow up with an email to say, I met you so and so at this place. And always make sure, even when you're sending those follow up requests, where it's a LinkedIn or an email, that you do it within 48 hours because then it's still fresh. If you wait too long, like more than a week and so forth, people have already moved on. They've already moved on. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that it's still fresh. You get people while it's still fresh and you talk about and you mention the things that you chatted about and what made you stand out, and so forth. So it's really important that you plan all of these things ahead of time. So the challenge from the 1st of August to the 30th of November 2024 is your networking goals for the year. Which platform are you going to be on? How many connection requests are you going to make? How many conversations are you going to start and continue? So it's not just starting conversations like, hi, how are you? Also, whilst we're on that topic, Damaris, you talked about how you get offended by, check this out or whatever. I can't say I get offended, but I will ignore with my whole entire being when I just get, hi, how are you? Like, let's get to the point. Why are we chatting? What's going on? What's happening? Unless you're saying, hi, Maria, how are you? I've seen your post and whatever, and I wanted to know more about this. Then I know what we're going into. But if it's just, hi, how are you? I'm fine. Then what do you say? So we must come with not just preparedness, but like we must come with a purpose. That's the word. English is really failing me today. We must come with purpose, and with that purpose and intent, we need to prepare for it. And with that preparation, we know that afterwards we're circling it back. We continue, and it's a cycle, and it's a cycle, and we continue and continue and grow from there. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I had an amazing time, and I believe these sessions on building your personal brand, these are personal to me because I've had great stories in terms of how these assisted me, and these obviously these insights are definitely what helped me and build my personal brand. And I wish someone had told me more about this when I was in corporate, but it's fine. Now I can tell you and you can learn. But even not in corporate, even as a business owner, really, really essential, because if you remember, people connect with people. They don't connect with your business. They connect with who you are and what you're about and why you're doing it. So you want to make sure that you continue communicating with them on that premise. Okay. Damaris is saying, thank you. She's loving my duck. So yes, this has been a very colorful day. Yeah, I just felt to do something a little different. But yeah, it is Friday and we are about to close our session. So thank you for joining me for this weekly marketing masterclass. Do let me know what you thought about this video, and if it helped you or provided some, either it touched you in your studio or it inspired you or made you feel like you need to relook everything about your branding, then definitely you know what to do. You need to slide into my DM and say, Maria, I looked at your video and it reminded me that I have some work to do in terms of my brand and my business. Can we set up some time to talk? And then I will respond and be like, sure, let's set up that time. Okay, guys, have an amazing weekend, and we will be back next week, Friday, for another tidbit in terms of how you can build a bankable personal brand. Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and yeah, we'll chat soon. Bye.